Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am sorry. It's been like a month and something. My bad. Honestly, I've just kind of been a little bit unmotivated for two big reasons. One is because I did a little bit of research. If you remember, the last thing I stopped on was I needed to make that steering shaft that connects, from the original one to the Ford power steering rack. And I have the kit from AJE, but I don't really know what I'm doing, and I'm a little bit scared of messing it up. So that's been a little bit like demoralizing, not wanting to mess that up. The second thing is that I finished disassembling the motor completely off camera, and whenever I removed the camshaft, two of the cam bearings came with it. It's kind of hard to see right now. I don't want to move it, but the point is that journal right there, which I believe is what you would call that, is dug in about like maybe 2 or 3 millimeters. And I assume it's the same thing on the number 3 bearing, which is the other one that came out. So I had actually disassembled the engine because I was going to send it to an engine shop to get cleaned along with the heads. But, now that I'm not sure if the motor is even usable anymore, I've been, again, a little demoralized to clean that motor enough to actually, get a crane, put it on in the back of my car, take it to the engine shop, and pay for them to look at it just for them to tell me that it's not usable, and then I still have to find another one. So, like I said, it's been a little bit demoralizing, but I am ready to get back on the horse. I'm going to start moving forward no matter what, and, what's going to happen is going to happen. So, at this point, I'm just procrastinating. So, with that, I'm going to put the power steering rack on the car and see what it looks like. I don't know. Alrighty, so I was about to put the rack in, but I remembered that the kit came with some bushings and like that inner metal ring, which I guess is also still part of the bushing. But yeah, so I went ahead and replaced those with the ones from the kit. Now it comes with these 4 bolts, right? All 4 are the same width. 2 of them are like maybe a ½ inch longer than the other 2, and then there's 6 washers. So there's not enough washers for me to put one on either end on all 4 bolts. And mind you, I know, or at least I'm pretty sure, that 2 of them are for the power steering rack and the other 2 are for the motor mounts, like render. So yeah, I'm pretty much just guessing on how this should go because the instructions are not very good. So yeah, like I said, it's part of the reason why I was so nervous to do this, but at this point I just gotta send it and hope for the best. Alrighty, got the power steering rack mounted and torqued down. I was gonna look torque specs up for this, but maybe I'll do it later, maybe I won't, but for now they're good and tight. But yeah, while I was down there, I also got a look at the automatic transmission like shifter, and I was able to get it out from underneath because it was stuck before, so that's a plus. But yeah, I also just to see if it would work, I hooked up the original shaft back with the power steering rack, and it still hooks up. So I have a feeling that the new shaft is more about getting exhaust header clearance, than actually being able to work. Because it seems like, for instance, if I was still using the V6 or even the stock V8 that comes in this car, I bet I could keep that stock shaft and not have to change it. But because I'm going to LS, with aftermarket long tube headers and stuff, I'm guessing that's why I need that other shaft. But yeah, I guess let's take a look at the box that has all the components of the new shaft and see if I can make any sense of it. Alrighty, so I've been going through the contents of this box for a couple minutes and looking over the instructions that they do provide, which are either incomplete or I'm just not good at following them. I really don't know what I'm doing. Some of this started to make sense in a way, like I kind of felt like I knew what I had to do, but then I kind of, looked at everything over there again and it doesn't really make sense, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I guess I'll get back to you once I do. Okay, so let's do a bit of an update. So it's been a little over 3 weeks since the last clip that I took, and long story short, I spent quite a long time trying to get any help that I could or resources to how to build this thing, and I wasn't able to find any, and eventually I spoke to someone who told me about an alternative, a shaft that was already pre-made and that would work fine for the kit that I already have because he used it as well. And so I ordered that, and the only downside is that it's got like a 2 to 3 week wait time, so it's gonna be a bit before that part gets here. But because I know it's getting here, I can kind of move along and just attach this steering shaft just to have the car like rollable, and then I can, you know, attach all the steering linkage, tighten everything up in the front end, put the wheels on, and then at least this car can be able to roll, and you know, it'll be easier to work on either car when I can roll either of them back and forth. So yeah, for now, since I have that problem solved, I'm just gonna move forward. Check this out. I was down there working and I happened to look up and notice this attached like down here into the radiator support. Apparently this car used to have neon. How crazy is that? But yeah, the wire was already snipped, so there's no salvaging it. But yeah, kind of cool. Okay, so the next thing is I'm gonna go ahead and tighten everything down in terms of like the angle kit and suspension stuff that I installed up there. And so I busted out the old instructions from Scotty D Race Development from when I first did the angle kit, and I busted out my handy dandy torque wrench because some of these components, especially stuff that are like imperative to the, you know, function of the car without you crashing, they experience a lot of vibration, a lot of movement, and so a lot of times those things have a specific torque spec that if you don't follow it, you can either over torque stuff, which will make it break, or you can under torque stuff, which will allow it to back off when vibrations happen. So for stuff like this, I want to follow the instructions. Alrighty, now hopefully the angle is good, but I'm going to show you guys how to set up a torque wrench for those of you that never have. So when you pull them out, you're going to notice there's a knob along the bottom, or I don't know if I'd necessarily call it a knob, but it's a little twisty thing along the shaft that you're able to adjust the amount of torque that you want to put on there. So a lot of times there's going to be something that locks it into place at the bottom. For mine, it's this little like twisty thing here at the bottom. So you're going to remove torque from that, which will allow you to spin this bottom unit freely. So the reason you want to do that is you'll notice that there's these lines along the bottom of it. Those are going to be individual pounds, and then on the center shaft here, you'll notice that there are increments, normally between 5 or 10 foot-pounds or inch-pounds, depending on the kind of torque wrench you have. So the torque that I'm going for is 120 foot-pounds for the lower control arms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the foot-pound designation here on the torque wrench, and I'm going to look at the amount here on the line where, let me see, the closest one to where I'm looking for, yeah, there is a 120 on here. You can see that line right there. So basically, I'm going to raise this up until I get to 120 with the 0. So as you can see, there's the 120 there, and the 0 lines up exactly with the line. So at that point, you can tighten the bottom of the torque wrench. That'll make sure that this doesn't move around, and you're ready to go. Now, you don't want to use a torque wrench for ratcheting, even though it ratchets, because over time, that'll wear down the teeth in here, and you really don't want to do that because this ratchet is experiencing a high amount of torque most of the time, especially these foot-pound ones, and you don't want these teeth to yield at some point when you're going for big torque. So you're going to want to get to as close as you can with the ratchet, and then once you're ready to put this bad boy on there, you're going to hit it until you hear a click, and I'll demonstrate that for you now. Okay, so first off, this is significantly easier if you don't have an engine. But yeah, I'm here in the engine bay, and I'm going to go ahead. I've already gotten these torqued down as much as I can with my regular 3/8 drive ratchet. I've got my torque wrench set up right here, so now we're going to go at it with the torque wrench for final torque. Okay, it's kind of impossible to use a hand for the phone here, so I just want to get this noise for you guys. There we go. There's that click. It's pretty loud, hard to mistaken. So, okay, now that the lower control arms are torqued in, we can go ahead and put on the outer control arms, which were like the steering. So yeah, let's go ahead and attach those to the knuckle. Alrighty, I went ahead and got the control arms linked up, but it is starting to rain and your boy is dying of the heat in here. I mean, it is like in the mid-90s. So yeah, and Formula Drift starts in like 30 minutes and I want to go watch that. So we'll get back to this tomorrow in the morning. Alright, let's do a hand transition. It's been a while. Alrighty, it's been a day and then today's the next day, so technically 2 days, but yeah, we're gonna get back to it. I just gotta keep torquing down stuff, and the goal is to try and get the wheels on and be able to roll the car into the driveway to get a nice thumbnail. and then that'll be the end of the video. So I'm hoping to get to that point, and I don't want the video to run too long, and I don't want to work too long. So let's get to it. Okay, everything is 100% torqued down to spec. I'm ready to put the rotors and calipers on, but just a side note, I'm going to be putting these extremely nasty rotors and calipers back on that were on the car stock. As you can see, the lines are cut and everything. Like, these are not, you know, ideal. So I'm going to use them now as placeholders to be able to move the car around and stuff, but just know this car is going to be getting like at least replacement brakes, if not a big brake kit, you know, with like nice rotors and stuff, but you know, down the line. Okay, the brakes and calipers and spacers are fully torqued, and now we're ready to put on the wheels. The only thing is that the Eclipse has all of the Mustang wheels on it, so I gotta take 2 of these wheels from the Eclipse. Alrighty, I'm gonna move the car so that it's easier to work on. Plus, I haven't started this car in like 2 months, so let's see if she even starts. We have battery power. I also know the electrical sometimes is a little wonky in this car. Oh. Wow, all reliable. Oh yeah. So I couldn't help myself. Went ahead and took her for a little test drive around the block. I love this car, man. It's crazy. I go a while without driving it, and I'm like, man, why do I even have this car? You know what I mean? I could definitely get something that's, you know, has a lot more parts for it and is easier to build, but then I drive it again and I'm like, oof, I love this car. So yeah, not getting rid of it anytime soon. But alrighty, let's get these wheels off. Okay, went ahead and took the rears off of the Eclipse and put them on the front of the Mustang where they belong, and put the stockies back on the Eclipse. So, alright, all that's left is to put this thing on the ground. Okay, so we've got a little bit of an issue. I was about to put the car on the ground, and I noticed that, you know, the wheel wasn't straight. So I went ahead and, you know, put the key in the ignition, straightened out in the steering wheel, and went to just kind of eyeball the alignment real quick. And I have a really bad toe out on both sides. Like, this is with the wheel straight. You can see there's that much toe out on the driver's side, and this much toe out on the passenger side. The issue is my tie rods don't go in any further than that. Like, I put them all the way down, and then it reached like the limit of how far it can go down, and I backed it off 1 rotation so that there's some amount of adjustability. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to leave this alone for now, and until I figure out how to take that toe out, because that is just too much toe to even push this thing around. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to move this thing at all. So yeah, we're gonna leave this alone for now. There's no rush on me putting out this video, so it's not like anyone's expecting anything. That's been really sporadic. So yeah, I'm gonna stop for today, leave this alone, and see what I do. So we'll get back to it. Alrighty guys, look, it's been like a month since that last clip. A lot of stuff has been happening, honestly, and this video is running a little bit long, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish this video now. I've still got the problem with the toe out, but I think I have a solution. I just haven't implemented it yet, but I'm actually gonna be shifting my focus, at least project-wise, to another car, which we'll get to in the next video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for following. Things are about to get crazy. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video, guys. Alrighty, bye.